Great, and now it's time for our panel of experts. Inez Long is the president and CEO of the Black Business Investment Fund of Florida, which is a community development financial institution, or CDFI, that focuses on providing capital to Black, minority, and underserved small businesses. Alfred Sanchez is the president and CEO of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. He's got a great Twitter feed. I've been reading it today. South Florida's first and longest sustaining business development organization, one of the largest chambers in the southeastern United States. And finally, Carolina Molea. Carolina Molea is the owner and chef at L'Artisan Creative Bakery, the first French vegan bakery in the U.S., which features an award-winning croissant on its menu. A big thank you to all of us. Listen, I've got to start with Carolina, folks. Carolina, I'm just in my little prep here. It says you won the Croissant Battle Miami 2 years ago. Before, how did you win? What did you pull? How did you pull it off?
That's correct. That was the year when we opened, and it was a blind testing. We were called to participate, and being vegan, we said, okay, we don't really have a chance right now with all these amazing bakeries participating, but the judges, they saw the creativity, the flavors were there, the techniques were there. So we won. It was incredible.
Well, before I
jump, it was the
only
vegan croissant.
Well, I can't wait to get back down there. I'm down in Miami-Dade area and that my southern Florida area a lot, and I can't wait to come sample it myself. But before I jump to Alfred and Inez, can you just give our viewers a sense of what your journey has been in the last 18 months?
It's been a roller coaster of emotions and difficulties, but also the importance of community, how our community has helped us to stay afloat, even during the most daring times. In 2020, when COVID hit, we were blooming. Our business was doing really, really great. But with all the changes, with all the new restrictions that were taking place at that time, we didn't know what to do. We were scared. My employees were scared, of course. We tried different ways to try to stay afloat. But at some point, with two of my employees getting sick with COVID, and we had to close. At some point, I remember I was sitting in my couch with my husband. We had to post on our social media that unfortunately that was the last day for us to be in business. And then immediately one customer reached out and said, listen, I think that we can help you. There is an opportunity on the internet. Even if your business, your storefront is closed, you can sell online. So for us, that was like, okay, let's do this. It was magical. We applied for the PPP loan, and we called back our team. We told them, there is this business opportunity. It's a big jump. Let's see if we can make it. So all of my employees back then, they said, you know what, let's do it. We're with you guys. This place we have to push through. And that same night, we were designing boxes. We were designing a new recipe for the croissants so they could be shipped, because that was untold. How do you ship a pastry so delicate? How do you put it in a box and ship it nationwide? So next day we started to do all the testing, all the trials. We were shipping boxes of croissants to Chicago and asking our friends and family how it tastes, how can we improve it. So in less than a week, we were back in business.
Well, look, I'm thrilled you're here, because it's great to hear a story of resilience and somebody innovating. I also want to remind our viewers, this story isn't every story. There are a lot of companies that went under and have been really struggling. And Inez, one of the things that I think is so clear when you look at the entire country, and honestly, I don't know the situation in Miami, but often communities of color, underserved communities, were hit very, very hard by the pandemic in health and business impacts, opportunity impacts. And I know your job is to try to bridge that so that we get, essentially not just justice, but, a greater equality of opportunity in tracking this. What is the Miami story? And when you talk to the folks you're working with, what do they most need? Is it money and finance? Is it mentorship? Is it to get the cards stacked less against them? What do they need?
Well, thank you so much for having me here today. from my experience in the work that we're doing down in the Miami market, what we have experienced over the past 2 years is that the small businesses need all of those things. They need a resource that's going to work with them to help them strategically figure out how to continue to do their business differently in the new world. The other thing that they need resources, they need capital, whether it's grant capital or whether it's if we as an entity can provide them loan capital that's longer term, lower interest rates, so that it feels like grant money coming into their shops that will allow for them to hold on to their business model along with the adjustment in the strategy, the marketing strategies for their businesses. That has been the work that we have been doing with small businesses in the marketplace.
Well, part of the story, Inez, and I want to jump to Alfred, that I know is all over this question, but part of it is not just how do I put it, not holding together what we've already gotten by way of business, but there's also the story of the next business, the next innovators, incubating the next set of opportunities. Do you find in this time when I don't know if we're out of COVID, in the middle, wherever we may be in this horrible pandemic process, but do you find new businesses having the confidence to come online now? What's that story?
I'm sorry, absolutely, yes. We are finding a strong demand in the marketplace for folks wanting to start businesses. So much, in fact, that we have a part of the financial technical assistance services that we provide. We've brought on a whole level of helping startups, folks that are thinking about it, people that want to get into the game. We've worked with a lot of our investors to bring aboard additional resources that will allow us to support teaching folks the ABCs of doing business, bringing it out of that thought process.
Oh, thank you. Well, Alfred, your organization is so big. You have so many employees. As I'm reading it here, 400,000 employees at firms that are part of your operation. And you tweeted out that Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava, whom I'm going to talk to in a few minutes, that you really praised her. She said it's the first time in your memory that you remember the mayor coming and saying, how can we take this $9 billion budget, which is huge, and link it with some of the priorities in the business community right now. So what did you hear? What were your priorities that you communicated to the mayor? And do you have confidence? What were some of those things? And do you have confidence that they'll be, grabbed?
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, and great to be with you and all of my colleagues here. Look, I think the Mayor, Daniela Levine Cava, has done a great job. She started early in really looking through all of our different constituents and asking, so what's important to you? What do you need? One of the things that we know that the business community needs is investment. We know that our community is made up primarily of small businesses. We have 87,000 small businesses. Only 1,500 of those are 100 and above employees. So what does that tell you? It tells you we're a community of small businesses. And I think I want to herald something that Inez said, because, all of our businesses, we've been surveying the business community throughout the whole pandemic to see what are their changing needs. And one of the things that we did this last time is we asked them, are you having trouble, getting hiring? And they all were saying yes. And then we were asking the employees or the former employees who are out there, so, why aren't you going back to work? And one of the things that they said is, I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to take a shot at becoming a small business because now I can. I was scared of it before, but now over those last 18 months, I've kind of had to fend for myself and go out there, so I'm going to take my shot. And so technical assistance in doing that is one of the key things. Access to capital is one of the key things. And Inez Group is doing it. The mayor and the county is going to be doing something. I don't want to steal her thunder, but she's got a terrific story that she's going to tell, where all of us in the community, the educational institutions, the economic development institutions, are working with her to provide that kind of expertise and technical support.
Do you find, Alfred, that sometimes when I'm talking to sort of communities, that do you see that you need more incubators there? And when you kind of look at the deficits in what you have, because there's one side of it that's kind of looking at, okay, how do we make a good story better? But I'm just sort of interested in what is missing. What are the deficits that need to be addressed from your perspective?
Yeah, I think incubators are something that we've been catching up to. I think, listen, former Mayor Jimenez, Congressman Jimenez now has been working a long time. He mentioned one community, one goal. That was something that the Greater Miami Chamber started many, many years ago. And, one of the things we looked at, is, along with the Knight Foundation, 15 years ago, was how do we attract these tech companies here to Miami? They're coming in droves now, so that means we're having we need to incubate these because I think the Kauffman Foundation a couple of years ago said that we're the #1 in startups, but we're I think 50 in scale up. So that's what we need to do, is scale them up. But now the good news is, because of this new interest that's here in Miami, a lot of the investors are coming and allowing us to incubate and giving us the resources to be able to do that.
Well, thank you. Well, Carolina, I want to come back to you because, I am, if what I have is right, I mean, you have all sorts of obstacles you have to deal with in your bakery. And I hope Alfred and Inez get down to your bakery. I'll tell everybody it's L'Artisan Creative Bakery.
Yes,
but you have
absolutely.
global supply chain problems, right? I mean, I talk about global supply chain problems. You have problems getting ingredients, and then the costs are shifting. There's a lot of dimensions, to your world, which I find such a microcosm, of the issues that you deal with some of the biggest companies in the country. But when it comes to, like, as you think now, I mean, I bet just listening to you, what you've learned about business, you'll probably never go back to what you were like before COVID. You're now going to, you're now an export powerhouse, et cetera. But I just be interested, with you and somebody wanted to copy you and going to take your journey and learn from it, what would be the most important thing that others in the Miami area might learn from, that were really important, that you've learned, that have helped you succeed?
One of the most important things is that you need to invest in technology. You need to invest in the proper equipment that is going to take you there. You have to know very clearly where you want to go and invest in that. You have to invest in not only in the equipment, but also in those tools that, as a manager, you have to invest in yourself. You have to learn how to properly do your taxes, how to keep your books, how you're going to hire people, how you're going to be more attractive to those employees. Because now we're seeing this migration of employees to better paid companies, or to hotels, or to bigger restaurants, or even to other cities that are offering better pay. So we have to become more attractive and be able to keep those employees with us, because at the end of the day, we also need that human resource that is going to take us there. And us as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we need to also get all that knowledge and how to be the best at what we're doing. So if you want to start, if you want to invest in technology, invest in yourself, look at the internet as a better option sometimes as a storefront. It's going to be way cheaper, and you are going to have a broader reach.
Great. Well, thank you. Look, I want to take a question from the audience room, but I want to ask Alfred and Inez real quick. Inez, you go first. When I look at this CDFI and I look at essentially policies about small businesses, something Alfred just really said just resonated with me, which is a lot of firms are just mom and pop firms, very, very small firms, not a lot of employees. In fact, a group under the internet registrar company GoDaddy has found that these ventures, or very, very small firms, are proliferating, and the more there are, the more economically resilient you are. But I'm interested from a CDFI perspective, whether we have the tools to actually help, and we have the finances to really help those new businesses at that micro level, that eventually we want to become macro firms. But do we need to put more resources in this than we have now, or do you think our infrastructure is pretty good?
Oh, Steve, that is such a great question. In regards to CDFIs, we're like small businesses ourselves. So absolutely, we have to it's just like Caroline said, we have to reinvest in ourselves as well. our technology, our human capital to ensure that we're able to bring the business services to the clients. I think that as a CDFI, we have been really blessed this past year with the U.S. Department of Treasury investing tons of monies into those programs, into the CDFI programs, because as you know, a CDFI, we can hold debt for small businesses on our books. We're not going to get written up for that kind of creative underwriting as if those loans were on the books of a regular commercial bank. So CDFIs play a great role in this whole system resource to allow for us to bring capital in a very, very creative way to those tiny small businesses and to provide them technical assistance and to work in partnership and collaboration with the other resource providers in the ecosystem, all of us together, bringing the resources together, the knowledge together to help grow and scale up our small businesses within the community.
Oh, thank you for that. Alfred, let me get your take on these micro ventures.
Look, there's always a need for more resources, more capital to help these businesses out. But let's not overlook the fact that a lot of the technical assistance. Look, I mentioned 87,000 businesses in Miami-Dade County. 58,000 of those have less than 5 employees. Wow. So what we're talking about here are mom and pop shops. Right. We're talking about scale up. They're probably never going to be huge businesses, but they're okay. They're serving an incredibly important need in their community, being the size they are. They still need assistance. And when we talk about assistance, it's not just about how do you X out at 8x of the value. No, we're talking about things, fundamental things. How do you run your books properly? How do you access capital? How do you apply for loans? How do you, how do you do all of the basic things that many of us take for granted that these new startups or small businesses can't take for granted? And that's one of the things that I think the mayor's going to get to. And I hope, and I have a great hope for that program.
Well, we will get into it, but let me take a quick question from Nicole. Nicole?
Hello, I am Nicole Chaplin. I am with Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs, African Heritage Cultural Arts Center, and I am the finance manager here at the center. I wanted to know, how does the program address the needs of small startup businesses, especially in the early phases? And subsequent to that, what additional resources are available to ensure that they can sustain a successful operation?
So
thank you.
Thank you for that, Nicole. And Inez, that's similar to what we were just talking about, but give us your thoughts.
So for those startup businesses, we have specialized technical assistance to help those small businesses. We use a Kaufman program where we train them for an ongoing number of weeks to help them formulate their businesses and bring about, the business plans and all of that sort of stuff. We also work in partnership with the small business development centers to help around the same initiatives. We work with our local chambers to help them find procurement resources and all of that sort of stuff. So that is how we start our work with small and startup businesses. And of course, as a lender, we will loan as little as $10,000 to small businesses. But there are other lenders in the community that will do even smaller than that.
Well, thank you. And Alfred, do you want to point to any resources in your chamber that might be useful?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of expertise, you can imagine, with the kind of chamber members that we have. And so we started a program called GMCC Connects, where we're actually having a lot of the firms that are offering consultancy give free office hours to some of our smaller businesses. So you can talk to a lawyer, you can talk to an accountant, you can talk to a marketing and media expert. And I think those are the kind of resources that we can help point to one another and support one another to grow our small businesses.
And I would just say finally to our chef, I'm just on your website right now, looking at this beautiful website you have, L'artisan Bakery. The chef, the whole deal here. So I don't know if you have any insights you want to share on startup businesses, but I will tell everyone to go to l'artisanbakery.com and order yourself the nation's only French vegan croissant.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it is very important for us small businesses to know that all these resources are out there. There for us to reach out. They're free of any charge. And most of the time, like for us immigrants, we don't know that something we think is too good to be true. But the reality is that they are accessible, they are there, and they are to be for our help, for our support, to make us successful in this country and to make this community grow.
Well, listen, what a great conversation. I want to thank Inez Long, President and CEO of the Black Business Investment Fund of Florida, Alfred Sanchez, President and CEO of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, and Carolyn Molea, chef and owner of L'Artisan Creative Bakery. I'm going to have to, I should say Carolina Molea, but I'm going to have to learn how to say L'Artisan better. I've got to get my French down. Maybe you can give me some lessons down there. But thank you all so much. It was a wonderful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.